Hi there folks, Andrew here at Chatfuel. Today we're going to be talking about Messenger lead gen ads. Now this is a new feature in Ads Manager that Facebook announced last year at their annual F8 developer conference. It's really cool because essentially it allows you to quickly capture information from users who are coming into your Messenger ads and then keep that for yourself or send it to your CRM. What makes this cool as well is the fact that because Facebook has this information about us, like our first name, last name, gender, city, etc., when we create an account, some of these fields, some of these questions that we're asking people coming into our bot through ads, we can automatically populate that and therefore make the lead gen process that much easier and frictionless. Instead of typing out these responses, people can simply with one click provide that information and it's more efficient for everyone. So I want to show you in this video how to set up these Messenger lead gen ads and what role Chatfuel can play in this as well. So here we are in Ads Manager. We'll begin by choosing, you guessed it, the messages consideration right here. I'm going to skip over these other options here because they're more advanced and this is just a basic overview. We'll click continue. For the message destination, we'll keep it on the default, which is click to Messenger. Scroll past audience targeting. You should definitely change this, but we could do a whole video course on audience targeting in Ads Manager, so I'll gloss over that. For the placements, we want to edit them, but I'll just keep them automatic by default. But essentially, I would recommend choosing, the news feed, probably deselecting Instagram, but you can certainly experiment with that. So I'll scroll past all those options you have. Same for budget and schedule. It's really up to you. This isn't a Facebook ads tutorial. I'll continue through. Now here, as I've said in previous videos where we're setting up ads, you want to confirm that for the identity module here, you're running the ads from the same page that your bot is connected to. Now in this case, it doesn't necessarily matter because we're not connecting Chatfuel to this ad, but if you are running a Messenger lead gen ad from Ads Manager and it's connected to the same page that your bot is connected to, make sure that in Chatfuel you remove the default answer. So I'm going to choose this Andrew's demo bot page here, which I do have a bot connected to. And so I'm going to go over here into Chatfuel, which again, it's the same page, and I want to make sure the default answer here is removed. Now this is super, super important because if I have a default answer here, which is the fallback response, if somebody type something to my page where the bot is connected and the bot doesn't understand that, it's going to trigger this. And so what that means, which will make more sense in a second, is when I'm setting up this lead gen series of questions, if the user responds to any of those, it will then trigger the default answer. So long story short, the takeaway, remove the default answer here if you're running these ads on the same page that you have a bot connected to. For the format, again, going to skip over this just for the sake of time and simplicity, but in this example, we are going to be running an ad from, let's say, a national e-commerce watch company that also has brick and mortar stores. And for this ad that we're running, which will appear in the newsfeed among all these other placements, we want to say, we want the incentive to be for people seeing this ad, hey, use our chatbot and we'll help you find your favorite watch of all time, something to that effect, and we'll essentially create a product recommendation flow here. But it's important to mention that with these lead gen ads, the role Chatfuel plays here is you can do these Messenger lead gen ads, and they certainly are effective. You should certainly experiment with them. But as you'll see more of in a second, when you're creating these Messenger lead gen ads here in Ads Manager, you're only able to capture and gather information from the user. And it stops there. Of course, you can send this information to a CRM and capture all this lead information in a CSV file in Ads Manager. But if you actually want to fully automate this, you need to connect it to Chatfuel or rebuild this lead gen sequence in Chatfuel so that you can actually provide the result. So in other words, With these lead gen ads, you're only capturing the information on what preferences a user might have about what watch they want. You're not actually giving them that result. Instead, a human will need to come through later, intervene, and make that decision, provide those recommendations. Whereas with Chatfuel, you can use tools like our JSON API plugin and the redirect to blocks to actually provide a real-time personalized response. So this isn't to say that one option is better than the other, but it just depends on your goals and what you need to do, whether you want that human touch or you want the instant gratification. So all that being said, again, I'm going to skip through the ad setup here, just important pieces of information to note there. And then for the messenger setup, this is where we really get started. So instead of start conversations, I'm going to choose generate leads here, and then we can create this chat experience. So if you've run click to messenger ads before, this will look very familiar, and essentially the setup is very similar. But what's different is, and I'm going to close this out, this is just telling us what I just mentioned about the default answer if you're using Chatfuel. And so the difference here is that we can pre-populate some of these responses because, as I mentioned earlier, when you create a Facebook account, you provide information like your email, gender, city you're from, etc. So let's start by customizing this introductory line. And to give context, this is what users will see after they view that ad in their newsfeed and they click through to Messenger. This is what they'll see. So we're going to start by, I'll keep the hi first name text right there, and then let's say, welcome to our watch store. Okay, simple enough. If we wanted to, we could even go a step further, add a watch emoji here just for some fun. Obviously, you don't have to do this. And then we'll go into the first question that we want to ask in this series of product recommendation options that users will provide an answer to, so then we can give them that response. So first, let's ask them for city. This is a default question. We don't have to use it, but I will. And the way this works is we can ask them for their zip code, essentially. So I'm going to go into address here, and we could choose city or zip code. I'm going to choose zip code just so the response is more localized. And the purpose for asking this question is, again, we're trying to provide this watch recommendation so the user can see that and potentially buy it. And because this hypothetical brand has brick and mortar locations as well, let's say we're going to capture this piece of information so that we can then send this to the local store based on their zip code and the nearest location. And then that local store can get the lead and follow up as well, try to schedule an in-store appointment with them to view the timepiece, etc. So we'll ask this as the first question, and then let's say one other pre-populated question we want to ask is their gender, because depending on their gender, they may have different choices or preferences for the watch that they would like. So we'll go down here and choose gender from this list, and you'll notice that these quick replies are appearing for each of these. Again, this indicates that it's a pre-populated question where that data is available, or at least should be. In some cases, areas or fields like zip code and city are not available. And in that case, users will have to type them out manually. There won't be a quick reply that auto-populates that information that they can just click on. And then let's ask one more question here, which will be a different question, right? We're not going to use one of these default pre-populated options. So I'm going to add a question here and I'll choose options. Now you have two choices here. You can choose the short answer or options. This is just like an open-ended question versus a multiple choice question on a test. And we have these same options in Chatfuel as well, right? Options, we have quick replies. Short answer, we have the user input plugin. So I'm going to choose options here because I think that's the most efficient, requires less mental effort on the part of these leads. And so for this question, let's ask, what's your price range? And we can include, let's say, three options here, $1 2, or 3. So over here on the right side of the screen, we can see a preview for what this question will look like to the user. Again, keep in mind that at the end of this lead ad, we're not actually providing a personalized watch recommendation based on these criteria, but what we still can do is provide a binary option essentially in this quiz where users are either reaching the qualified state or they're getting rejected essentially. And so to do that, we can play with these options right here, these node icons, if you will. And let's say if they choose this lowest price option, we automatically want to disqualify them. We can do that by clicking here, choosing disqualification, or we could automatically qualify them and take them to that last completion step. And then we can customize the messaging down here. So completion or disqualification, obviously they explain themselves. But again, this doesn't provide the nuance that we could use in Chatfuel where maybe we weight certain questions to qualify or disqualify them versus just automatically rejecting them or not. So we have some flexibility here. Again, mostly we're just capturing information that humans will use at a later time, or we can automatically send it to a CRM. So we can route users in this lead ad, but we're not providing that personalized product recommendation at the end of the day. Some other interesting options here that can definitely prove useful are the reminder feature right here. So as it says, this will allow you to automatically send a follow-up message to people who have gone through this ad and started filling out the questions but haven't completed it. So obviously that can really boost conversion rates depending on how many questions you're asking, right? If you're asking 25 questions, probably they're not going to convert that well, but if you keep it to around 1 to 5, you should be looking good in terms of conversion rates. As I mentioned before as well, you have this completion and disqualification message. I'm not going to go into the details of that. You can customize the copy as you choose, but really cool that you can automatically disqualify people or not based on just a single question. And then finally down here, it's just important to note that you are required to have a privacy policy for how you're dealing with this lead information. So keep that in mind because that's obviously super important. And then if I wanted to, I could click here to preview what this would look like in Messenger. Obviously, you can see in this case, my city is not publicly available information, so that quick reply does not automatically populate, but something like gender would, or a number of those other fields. So this essentially is how these Messenger lead gen ads work. I highly encourage that you experiment with them, if nothing else. Remember that your goal really depends on what tools you're using. If you're looking for a quick and dirty solution that does still provide some customization, like routing users to qualify or disqualify them, then check out these lead ads. If you want some more nuance and automatic product recommendations, Chatfuel can help you with that as well. Also, these can coexist. As I mentioned, you can have a Chatfuel bot connected and run this simultaneously. Just remember to remove the default answer to avoid any interference with Chatfuel and Facebook. Let me know how you plan on using Messenger lead ads with your Messenger campaigns. Otherwise, see you in the next video and happy botting.